Craig still here with ROKSTEDi, and today I wanted to go over an HK P234 and the new updated OG P234. We'll go through the weights, the heights, the costs, the functions. Essentially from the arms, top of the leg, down, these bipods are the same. They're made out of the same material. Now they have the same leg functions. They have the forward stow, 45, reverse 45, and reverse stow. These function the exact same. Internal leg locks with the quarter turn twist, lock up anywhere on the tube. Both of them can either come with the Picatinny attachment or the ARC attachment. These are both Picatinny attachments, so they're interchangeable and they accommodate, again, both Picatinny and ARC attachments. Both will go on your gun quickly. Both have kip levers on the back to control your tension. The main difference with the positioning of the HK line versus the OG line, on the HK line, it's an ambidextrous bipod, so the kip lever would be directly underneath your rifle or in the center of the bipod. With the OG line, those are made in left-hand or right-handed models, with the kip lever being on the left side for a right-hander and the kip lever being on the right side for a left-hander. Two positions as far as the horizontal axis of the legs. The taller, more upright position, as you see here, you would use this position if you get into a seated position or if you're in a high prone shot. So the legs do have a second positioning. The legs move horizontally together with a press of a button here. You can spread the legs out, get in that wide, stable prone position. You can move the legs into a 45 for a lower prone position, and to stow it back up or to move it back up in that high position. I like to just put one leg in the ground, or you can grab it with one hand and it automatically will lock up, and now you're in that higher position. So it has the two positions you can be in as far as the horizontal leg access. The other big difference between the HK line and the OG line, which I'll show you the OG line of bipods on this one next, are that the HK line simply has cant, has an extreme amount of cant. You control that with your kip lever, nice and smooth. This is a heavier rifle. This rifle's about 15 pounds. So you have no tilt and no pan, just simply cant adjustment for when you're on that uneven ground. Okay, let's move on over to the OG. Both of them come either with, again, the Picatinny attachment or the ARC attachment. You can go back and forth. You can order the individual attachments if you have a rifle with an ARC rail and another one with the Picatinny attachment. You can obviously swap those out. We'll have how-to videos. It's very simple. It's 2 bolts. So first and foremost, again, we make them in left and right-handed models. Because I'm right-handed, my offhand, not my trigger hand, now I can reach up and tighten the tension or loosen the tension for a cant adjustment and pan tilt adjustment. On the left side, if I was left-handed, it would be more ergonomic if it was on this side, versus the HK line, it's in the center. So the new updated OG line, we have definitely more cant, not as much cant as what the HK line provides. You loosen tension on there, and this is one of the big differences between the OG line and the HK line, is you have a button on bottom. Now with the new ones, you press that button. The old ones were on the bottom as well, but now you press it, and now you have that pan and tilt, so you don't have to move your bipod legs. If need be, if you're hunting coyotes or you're hunting rut mule deer, you're in a seated position, you don't want to relocate your legs, and you need a little bit of room just because that animal moved. It's very easy to function. You can lock it down. Now it's locked down in that position. If you're on shooting downhill or uphill, the same thing. You don't have to adjust your legs. You can do that adjustment with the pan tilt functions. So that's one of the functions that makes the OG line special. And to lock that up, you simply press this button on front, align your bipod to where it's nice and center, press it in, and now it's back to where it will only cant, just like the HK, it will only cant. So the HK line of bipods have two leg positions regarding the horizontal axis. The taller position and that wider position that you're going to get into for prone shots, depending upon uphill, downhill, what your slope is. The OG line has independent horizontal leg functions. So each leg functions independently like they have in the past. There's a tab underneath. These ones are super smooth. So that's one leg adjustment on the left-hand side, so you can get even lower. So that's one leg adjustment on the left-hand side. Now we're gonna go to the right-hand side. You simply lift up the leg. Now you're in that wide stable position. Both legs are even. Keep in mind, if you need to go lower, you can adjust the left side again, and now you can adjust your cant and your bubble. And then, of course, you can go one more. I don't recommend this position. We simply, just because you have a lot of flex, we simply put that in there because you don't know what side you're gonna need that off leg down one more notch. You can go into the 45, just can't like you can with the HK. And to get it back to the tall position, just like the HK, except for you just press on one leg and it goes back up, and now you're in the tall position. If the other leg was out, you would press on that leg and it automatically locks back up in the high position. Stowing position is the same for both rifles. You have your forward. You can stow it in reverse. Reverse stow will make these bipods shorter on both models, so your overall length of the bipod is shorter. The HK P234 and the P234 OG are both our most popular selling bipods for the individual lines. We do offer those other sizes from our prones, S prones to P226 all the way up to the HK P242 and P242 OG. From some differences as far as from a stat standpoint, the HK line of bipods run a little bit shorter max height than the OG line of bipods. So the HK line of bipods, for instance, the HK P234 versus the P234 OG, this bipod is 34 inches at max height. And that would be with the legs fully extended. Like that, okay? So from there to the bottom of the ground, that's just over 34 inches. HK P234 is very similar in height, but they're just slightly shorter. Try to get them to where you can see. So it's about an inch shorter. So it's just over 33 inches. So you don't lose much, you just lose a tiny bit. So that's your overall max height, and it kind of correlates between the different models, the P226 versus the HK P226. And we try to update those stats to where they're basically nuts on, for lack of better terms, so you guys know exactly the stats that you're getting at. There's some variance in there for production, and if we make minor changes in there, that's why we use the same P234 or P242 or P226, even though this is an HK and this is an OG. It's for the max heights. Weights. So obviously you can see there's less material on the HK. It's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit simpler as far as function and parts. The HK P234 is 2 ounces lighter than the P234 OG. So you're gonna lose 2 ounces roughly with all the HK lines versus the OG lines. just because you have more materials and more functions in this OG line. So you're gonna lose 2 ounces. So if weight's a big factor, the HK line is definitely the lighter bipod. The OG, as it sits right here, is 16.9 ounces, which is extremely light, guys, for 34-inch bipod. It's light, but it holds 15, 18-pound rifles. It can handle them. Large calibers, 300. I shoot a lot with my 300 PRC. The HK P234 is just as rigid. It comes in at 14.9 ounces. Keep in mind, it's unbelievable. There's a lot of 27-ounce bipods out there that are 19 to 20 ounces. So these things are very, very light, but very, very strong and durable. A ton of time, R&D to accomplish that, to make a light, strong, functional, durable hunting bipod. They both come with the aluminum spike foot, which I find tremendously useful. And one of the things that I really pushed for was adding a rubber cover. And so they both can have rubber covers. And again, the feet are the same. And the beauty of the rubber covers is if you're on rock or a slick surface, such as this table, something like that, you guys know you get that bite. If you're in an area where you need to get the bipod down in the mud or whatever else, and you need just a little bit more stiction in there to allow you to load that bipod forward, you take the rubber covers off and then you can put them back on. The rubber covers are 10 bucks. And so it's an added 10 bucks if you order them with the rubber covers. And we've got a ton of rubber covers in stock. If you need any, if you lose one, you always come back and you can order 2 of them, and you'll get them within a couple days. So the last physical difference that I would like to point out is obviously the HK line of bipods are going to be narrower than the OG line of bipods, and that's simply because the OG line has to accommodate for the independent leg functions and the ball. The price point difference between the HK line and the OG line, you can obviously see that the HK line is going to be a cheaper price point because it has less parts and less functions, which means less assembly time, less overhead for us. So that cost is passed down to the consumer. So this bipod right here, as it sits without the rubber covers, the HK P234, retails for $495. If you add the rubber covers, that's an extra 10 bucks. This bipod, as it sits right here, the P234 OG, retails for $630. If you add the rubber covers, that's an extra 10 bucks. So now you can see the functional difference, the stat difference, the look difference, and the price differences, and hopefully that makes you make a more educated decision on which bipod line you want to go with, whether it be the HK or the OG. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Text, email, call, whatever is convenient for you, and we'll try to get you an answer.